I'm going to start from the very basic like Mac OS booting process. This is the first agenda because it's really important for us if you want to understand about the backend file which is contained by the Mac operating system. So it's mandatory for us. We must need to know about the booting process. So I'm going to categorize our booting process in two different parts for better understanding because we have a familiar we know very well about the Windows operating system activity. So I'm just going to compare our Windows booting process to Mac operating system booting process. Is that okay? Because you know that Mac uses a separate hardware in compare of normal. We are unable to install directly. We are unable to directly install any Mac operating system in our base machine. We are not authorized to install Mac machine to any Mac operating system to any hardware using the bare metal configuration. In virtualization, we can do that. In virtualization, if you want to install Mac machine over a VMware workstation, hypervisor, or virtual PC, you are able to install the Mac machine, Mac operating system, but we are not authorized to install directly on the base machine. Is that correct?
Yes.
So booting process is really important for us. So let me help you to understand about the difference between the booting process of Windows plus our Mac operating system. So let me guide you about in case of Windows. So booting process of Windows is categorized in four different stage or four different part. You can say that the first one is related to the BIOS. You know that the basic input output system. Second option is MBR, considered as a master boot record. Third option is related to the active partition, right? The third stage of booting process in case of Windows, it's a active partition, and last step is our BCD, considered as a boot configuration data. So the booting process of Windows contain a four different stage. Booting process of Windows categorized in four different part. The parts are BIOS, MBR, active partition, and BCD. Is that okay?
Yes.
Let's try to understand about the usage of these points. So what do you think about the BIOS? What is BIOS?
So BIOS, as the name suggests, it's perform the basic input-output operation in the system. So before the system starts, it's basically check all the peripherals. I think it's regarding the keyboard and everything that it's check that if it's working or not. Basic input like the mouse is working or the keyboard is working. Basic input-output they are checked.
Anything else that we can add?
Not that I think so.
No problem. The booting process, in case of booting process, you know that we are able to find BIOS that contain two important options. One is post, right, which is power on self test. You know very well about it. And another is types of BIOS. The types of BIOS categorized into different part. One is legacy BIOS, and another is UEFI BIOS. I'm talking about the latest BIOS. Is that correct?
Yes.
The meaning of post, it is responsible to check the entire components. Components in the sense those components are really important to for to identify the really important to boot our machine, boot our operating system. BIOS contain two important information. The first one is post. Second is the types of BIOS. Post is power on self test, responsible to check the entire components. Those components are mandatory to boot our machine, to boot our operating system. Legacy is the old BIOS. UEFI is the latest BIOS introduced by Microsoft, introduced by Intel. And by using the UEFI BIOS, we are able to protect our booting sequence. We are able to protect our booting process. Plus, it can also help us to manage the what we can say that it can also help us to manage the disk management. Legacy support only MBR disk, and UEFI support MBR and GPT, both types of hard drive. Next, once you complete the part of BIOS, it will move ourselves to MBR. The meaning of MBR can help us to create a partition in our Windows operating system. You know that whenever we add any hardware, whenever we add any hard disk in our Windows machine, it's our responsibility to boot the computer, right? So it's our responsibility to create a partition in our system. Is that clear?
Yes.
Fine. So once we complete the part of MBR, means once we complete the complete the part of MBR, means creating password partition, it will redirect us to next point, active partition. The meaning of active partition, it always fetch the data, it always try to fetch the data from our disk 0 and partition 1,
Yes.
because you know that if we have a multiple hard disk connected with single computer, and multiple hard disk connected with single computer, so it's really difficult to means it's really difficult for booting process to fetch the operating system. Then active partition can help you to fetch the operating system information from the
This
disk 0. Always try to fetch the data from disk 0. Clear? Next, last option is BCD. The meaning of BCD is related to the boot configuration data. So what is boot configuration data?
The boot configuration data, I'm not sure about that. I'm actually a bit confused regarding the BCD.
Okay. So boot configuration data is basically responsible to contain the local security, right? Contain the information about the local security. The meaning of local security, like GP edit, right? You know that the GP edit is a local group policy. If you want to apply the group policy to an individual operating system through the administrator, gpedit.msc can help you. You know very well about the registry. Each and every Windows operating system contain the registry that contain information about applications and drivers and operating systems as well. So BCD responsible to contain local security like GP edit, account lockout policy, and it also responsible to contain the information about what we can say that about the password, SysKey password, and responsible to contain the registry information. So all types of local security that you want to perform with our operating system, entire policies managed by, entire security managed by the BCD, boot configuration data. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now I'm just going to help you to understand about the booting sequence or booting process in case of Mac machine. So you know that in case of Mac machine, Mac operating system uses a standard booting process, because in case of Windows you are able to install Windows operating system in any hardware, but we are not authorized to install our Mac operating system to any normal hardware. It required a special kind of hardware. So the booting process of our Mac machine is started from the very basic, like as it will start from the boot ROM, because we don't have access of any kind of BIOS, or you can consider it as a BIOS of our Mac machines. Boot ROM, the ROM is contain basically a hardware or chip responsible to contain the read-only information. The meaning of read-only information, it contains the information about LLB, right? The meaning of LLB is basically related to the low label bootstrap. Low label bootstrap. The first step, it will start from the boot ROM, responsible to check the entire hardware that connected with our machine, that connected with our Mac operating system. Then it will redirect us to the second step. The second step related to the LLB signature pair. The second step is LLB signature paired. The meaning of signature paired is related to the hard disk that you are using, and your hard disk contain the information about our operating system. Is that correct?
Yes.
Each and every types of operating system need at least one storage. Those storage responsible to contain the information about the operating system files. So first it will start from the BIOS, just like a BIOS responsible to check the each and every points, means each and every components. Those components are mandatory to turn on our computer: RAM, processor, motherboard, buses, each and every points managed by the first step. Then it will move ourselves to LLB signature. The meaning of LLB signature paired is related to the low label bootstrap that is responsible to identify the number of booting files are available in our hard drive. After that, step third, if we talk about the another step related to the booting process, the step third responsible to contain the information about some supportive file. Those files are responsible to turn on our machine with the help of operating system. I hope you are aware about the kernel file. May I know the usage of kernel file?
No.
I'm talking about the boot kernel.
Okay. Yeah, boot kernel.
Right. So may I know the usage of boot kernel?
So the boot kernel file, I think, is responsible for the password, I guess.
Anything else?
No, and nothing is coming.
Okay, no problem. It contains the boot kernel, kernel boot, iBoot, and you are also able to manage the cache memory of BIOS. Cache memory of BIOS, or you can say that ROM, read only memory. Whenever we turn on our Mac machine, the first step, it will check the booting process. It will check the entire prerequisite or important components. Those components are mandatory to boot our machine. Then it will transfer to the information to LLB signature, responsible to fetch the operating system information from the available hard drive in Mac. And after that, to turn on your operating system, it will check the boot kernel, iBoot, and also cache memory identification. The meaning of kernel boot is related to to open your operating system. I mean, you will get the wizard where we can provide the password information to log in our machine. The entire boot kernel, in case of Windows and in case of Mac operating system, can perform the both tasks. And after that, if everything is okay, it will open your Mac operating system. The last option, it will open the Mac operating system like this. Is that okay? So
yes.
these all are the steps. You know that booting process we are unable to see from backend. We are not authorized to see the backend. We just realize these types of activity happen in backend. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fine. So this is the gap between Windows booting process and Mac operating system booting process. Any question? Any doubt about these points?
So in LLB signature, as you said, that it generally checks number of booting files available in the hard drive.
It will identify the hard disk first, right? Because what happens, sometimes we are able to connect multiple hard drive. One hard disk can attach with the directly, it's an internal hard drive. One more hard disk you added with USB considered as an external hard drive, right? We are authorized to boot our machine from the external hard drive and internal hard drive both. So LLB signature paired can help us to identify the actual file that contain the information about our operating system files.
Okay.
If we have a multiple hard drive connected with same computer, so it's really difficult for our machine to boot the operating system, to fetch the operating system. So LLB signature paired can help us to identify the files related to the booting process, file related to the operating system that contain the operating system. Clear?
It's just like the active partition in the Windows.
Active partition. Exactly. It works just like active partition in Windows, because the active partition of Windows can also perform the task, and also help us to identify the operating system or fetch the operating system from disk 0. Always it try to access the data, always try to fetch the operating system from disk 0. Correct?
Yes.
Then kernel, it's a final stage. Once everything is okay, kernel boot okay, iBoot okay, cache memory okay, and then it will give you the option to access your operating system to perform the task with your OS. Any question?
No.
Cool. This is the basic information. I'm moving ourselves to our desktop screen. This is our desktop screen. I'm using the latest operating system of Mac. I think I just updated from Big Sur to Monterey. So I hope you know about how we can identify the operating system that we are using, right? This is the dashboard. This is our desktop, and we are able to find a number of options are available. You can consider it these all are the application that you are using, right? It's a shortcut.
Yes.
Notification area that give us a lots of option like as a timing, and this is another feature added in Monterey operating system that give us option to identify your what we can say that uh, internet connection, airdrop you can directly use from here, Bluetooth, you can manage the backlight of keyboard, mirror the screen in the sense like you are using multiple Apple devices, like you are using iPad or iPhone, and you wanted to mirror your device to each other. So just a shortcut key that can help us to mirror our mobile screen or iPad screen to laptop, vice versa, laptop screen to another Apple device. Clear? This is our internet activity, means with the help of this particular option we are able to configure our networking that we will discuss later because it contains lots of features. So we are just trying to understand about the basic sound information, and this is our screen mirroring. If you want to create a screen mirroring, you just need to click here. It will give you the information about the number of Apple devices that you are using. So currently we haven't added any kind of machine, so that's why it will not help you to see that, because I'm not creating a mirror with any Mac machine or any Apple device, right? From day one, what we need to do once we complete the part of booting process, it's our responsibility to know about the installation, upgradation, backup, and restore. Got it what I'm saying? The day one that we need to know, the first and important point related to the Mac operating system, you should know about manage Mac OS, like installation, upgradation, backup, and restore. One more point I just wanted to add, you know, that hard reset. So these all are the options, these all are the points that we need to know. So we will discuss about each and every point, like how to reset our machine, how to restore our operating system, how to update, and we'll try to manage the installation of our Mac machine in VMware Workstation or ESXi host. So may I know the usage of how we can install the Mac machine in our system? Do we need to add any kind of hard drive, any kind of virtual means any kind of external hard disk or anything that we need to add with our Mac machine to install new operating system?
I haven't done the installation, so I don't have the idea regarding that.
Fine, no problem, no problem. So I'm just going to start from the update, right? Because what happened, it's our responsibility, we should know about the procedure to update. For example, this is our Mac machine, and you know that in Mac machine we have a number of operating system. The latest operating system is I think Monterey. Big Sur is old one. You wanted to update your Big Sur OS. We have a Catalina, Big Sur, Mohave, a number of version of operating system are available, and Monterey. If you want to upgrade your machine from old version of operating system to new version of operating system, you just need to open our machine, click on icon, means on the Apple icon, and it will give us option of about Mac. Once we click on the about Mac, it will redirect you on another page. So it give you the information, overview panel can give you the information about the type of operating system that you are using, Mac OS Monterey, and this is the configuration of your hardware that you are using. 1.8 gig of processor, gigahertz processor, Core i5, RAM 8 gig of RAM with 1600 megahertz, and it's a DDR3. Graphic card, this is the graphic card information, and this is the serial number of my laptop. Clear?
Yes.
If you want to verify the latest version of operating system, so in this case, no need to download any kind of setup, no need to download any kind of update. You just need to connect your Mac machine with internet and click on software update. Once we click on the software update, it will check the latest update. If any latest update introduced by the Mac, it will give you the information. But your Mac is up to date. Mac OS Monterey 12.6.3 last check today, means because I updated automatically updated recently, so that's why it just captured the entire latest changes in Monterey operating system. Clear?
Yes.
This is the basic information that can help us to update our OS, the prerequisite to perform the update. If we talk about the prerequisite to update our operating system, prerequisites to update Mac machine, we must need to keep in mind some important point. Keep in mind, like as good internet access, the speed of internet minimum at least 25 mbps, right?
Yes.
Second important point, must have enough space in Mac, it's mandatory. Number third, it's really important, check battery status or plug the charger. Because the updation of any latest operating system will take up to between 30 minute to 50 minute, maybe 30 minute to 1 hour. It's based on the number of files that you are means that contained by the operating system. So it's mandatory, you must need to turn on your charger, must be connected with your laptop, because in between of updation, if any problem occurred related to the power supply, then it will impact to the entire OS, it will impact to the entire computer. Maybe you are unable to access any operating system and you need to format. The only option we have to format, you are unable to recover any data. Is that clear?
Yes. So in the of the scenario, we have to just format them again if anything happens wrong on it.
Exactly. If in between your system will restart or any problem occurred or this network disconnect or internet not working properly, then we will lost the entire data.
Okay.
Then we have only single option. You just need to clean your operating system with the help of hard reset and install new operating system.
Okay. Got it.
Clear?
Yes.
Fine. So this is the information that can help us to update it. Now let's talk about another point, backup. You are able to take the backup, then we can proceed for the restore. So I hope you are aware about the backup, right? What do you think about the backup?
Backup in general terms, if I say it's backing up of the data that we take
Mm-hmm.
in case of any issues occur with the particular system. There are backup files that we can restore, and that can give us the access point to that particular files that we might have lost regarding any system failures.
Exactly. So before it's our responsibility, we just need to configure the backup of our Mac machine, right? So at least we wanted to protect our file and folder. I'm not talking about the entire operating system, but we wanted to protect our the data, like as a the folder that we created in our desktop, the download files that are available, The another things that you install, like as any kind of application driver that you install in your Mac machine, it's our responsibility to protect it. So question, how we can protect our environment? So like as a Windows operating system in Mac machine, we have a one of important service that help us to manage the backup. So let's talk about Mac machine. Yes, Mac machine backup and restore, right? Backup and restore. Very basic way, we have a very simple way to configure the backup in our Mac operating system. Like as we have a one option called time machine, right? I hope you are aware about the time machine. Do you have idea about time machine?
No, I don't.
No problem. Time machine is the built-in feature of Mac which is introduced by the Mohab in year of 2014. So 2014 onwards to till date, we have one option time machine that can help us to manage the backup for our entire operating system. Now, we have a two different way to protect our backup files. You can configure the backup and put it into the network. If you have any SAN storage, if you have any share storage, you can configure the backup and put into the share storage. Is that okay?
Yes.
Second, another way, you wanted to configure the backup and put into the external storage. What is difference between the external storage and share storage?
So the shared storage that we share, like in the Google Drive, that we get the shared storage, or the shared storage we get from the Microsoft in OneDrive. These are type of shared storage that we get. And the external storage are the hard drive and the pen drive, or the any external device that we use for the storage purpose.
Okay, we can say that the meaning of share storage, if you set up any kind of SAN and you shared with the NTFS folder, you just shared the one NTFS folder and you wanted to capture the entire backup file and put into the share folder. So OneDrive, Google Drive, iCloud, these all are the example. Yes, we can consider it as a share storage. And external storage?
External storage is an external hard drive that we use for the storing purpose. Like if we have a pen drive or external hard drive we use for the storing purpose.
Exactly. So like in my case, what I did, I have already installed multiple application in this machine. Like I installed OneNote, Teams, Camtasia, multiple software that I installed in this computer, right? So what I'm going to do, I wanted to protect it. So I just added a one external hard drive to my computer, and because we don't have any share storage, right? We don't have any share storage. So what we need to do, I'm just going to show you the procedure how we can configure the backup. We have enough space. We have enough space in the sense free space that can help us to take the backup. A number of drives you are able to find: Instagram, live class, macOS backup, right? Mobile application, personal software, YouTube. Actually, these all are the partition. I connected my 1.5 TB of external hard drive. I wanted to use this particular hard drive to take the backup of our Mac machine, right? Is that okay?
Yes.
So for this particular task, you just need to just click on start button, means you can say that the icon of our Mac OS, click system preferences, and you can say that the system preferences is a type of control panel that we are using in our Windows machine. Just like in case of Windows machine, we have a control panel that help us to perform lots of tasks. As it is, the system preferences of our Mac machine work just like a control panel. Clear?
Yes.
We are able to find one option, time machine. The time machine can help us to take the backup of our operating system, and it can also help you in case of restore. Just need to click here, click on time machine. We are able to find backup automatic. If you have already added share storage, if you have already added any kind of external, so you can proceed with backup automatic. But if you wanted to proceed with manual, you just need to select the backup disk. Clear?
Yes.
Multiple drives are available. We are able to find one drive with name of Mac OS Back. Mac OS Back in the sense it's a totally different from another partition. It is totally different from, in look wise, it's totally different from other side. So I have already configured the backup, right? I have already configured the backup for my same operating system, but before, I think it's before 10 to 15 days, from 10 to 15 days, I added multiple applications, I added multiple folder and files, so I wanted to take the backup. So what you need to do, you just need to select your drive and click use disk. You must need to identify, you must need to assign at least one drive, right? So it's creating a backup. The backup process is started. The capacity of our external storage is 50 point something gigs, so I think it's enough to take the backup.
Okay, so in backup automatically, actually it goes for the share storage if we have any share storage, and in the selectors it will go to the manual process where you go ahead and select a hard drive and select on the backup, and it will start writing up.
Correct. You just need to select the disk where you wanted to put the backup file of our Mac operating system, and it will start automatic. Backup in progress. Next backup in just in 60 seconds. Now backup is started. It will prepare the backup files, right? We haven't installed much files, so that's why it just immediately give us option. Now what you need to do, if you want to take the start a new backup, you can just proceed with that. Claim existing backup. Claim existing backup in the sense like you wanted to restore any file from existing backup, you just need to proceed with that, or decide later what exactly you want to do. Is that fine?
Yes.
So once you take the backup, it will capture the information about the file, folder, application, and the software that you install. Whenever we hard reset our computer system, it will give you the information. It will give you the option, do you want to restore from the previous backup? So that time you connect your external hard drive again, check mark the backup location, check mark the drive that you use to take the backup. It will automatically copy the entire files and provide to the latest operating system that you want to install. Is that fine?
Yes.
Any doubt, any question about the taking the backup?
No. So whenever we try to install, so we get an option where we can restore our files from the hard drive, correct?
Exactly.
And we can connect the hard drive and restore the files from there.
Exactly. Actually, we will discuss about the restore and backup, but not in base machine, because once we the restore menu will appear once you restart the computer, right? We need to use some shortcut keys, like as a command plus R. You need to just press continuous command plus R. It will redirect you on page of repair mode, just like a Windows, right? So it will give you the multiple option. I think 4 to 5 different options you will get, like as a hard reset your OS, backup your operating system, install new operating system, change the Apple ID, right? Because you know that whenever we set up any Apple device, you must need to configure one Apple ID. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if you forget the Apple ID, or if you wanted to change the Apple ID, you wanted to create a new Apple ID, so you just need to hard reset.
Okay.
So within half an hour, you can erase the entire data. You can erase the entire data and create a new email ID, create a new ID for Apple, and you can install new operating system. Correct?
Yes.
The benefits of to using the same Apple ID with multiple devices, you know that if you are using multiple multiple Apple device, like you are using iPhone, iPad, and uh, 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 Mac operating system as well, Mac machine as well, and you wanted to synchronize each and every devices to each other, you must need to use same Apple ID to sign up yourself with Mac. Same Apple ID you need to use with your mobile phone. Same Apple ID you can use with our what we can say that our iPad or any other Mac devices. So what happened? It will synchronize the each and every devices. And another benefits to use the same Apple ID. You can easily fetch the device location. It will provide you the actual device location. Got it? If you are using the Apple ID, you can fetch the location of your Apple device. Clear?
Yes.
So this is the procedure that we can use for the backup. But for restore, what we need to do, let me help you to understand about theoretical. This is the procedure for backup, but for restore, we need to follow the proper step. Give me 1 minute to restore our machine. What are the steps that we need to use? Although we will discuss practically, right? We'll try to understand about the concept practically. To restore our Mac operating system, what you need to do, this is our Mac machine, and you need to connect your external storage. The external storage that contain the backup files, right?
Yes.
Now, so external storage, connect your external storage, then execute, restart. They step first, restart your computer, restart Mac. Then step 2, press command plus R button, right? Command plus R. Hold for at least 15 to 20 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Then it will redirect you on page of backup. Then it will redirect you on page of backup and restore. it will redirect you on macOS repair wizard. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install one Mac machine using VMware Workstation, and after that, we'll take the backup again. After backup, we will configure the restore. Is that okay?
Yes.
So please go through the points that we discussed today, and if you have any question, any doubt, let me know.
Sure. Jeet, what you have written beside press command plus R?
When Apple logo displayed, you need to press the command plus R, press command plus R, and hold it for 15 to 20 seconds. But you need to use these two shortcut key when Apple logo appears.
Okay, so we have to use this shortcut key when Apple logo appears on the screen.
Correct. Then it will automatically redirect you on the Mac OS repair mode. So Mac OS repair mode contains 4 to 5 different options. These options can help us to hard reset. These options can help us to take the backup. These options can help us to restore the operating system as well. Is that okay?
Yes.
So step by step we will discuss about the point. Do you have access of Mac machine?
No, I don't have.
So what about practical? How you can perform the practical activity?
I can ask my client. He can provide me the Mac OS.
But
But
you're unable to perform any practical activity, na? In live environment, we are unable to perform any experiment kind of thing. So do one thing. We in Noida location. You are in Noida location, right?
Yes.
We have a one server with 16.4 gig of RAM and SSD. So do one thing. Take the access of the same machine and install one Mac operating system with 12 gig of RAM or 8 gig of RAM, and provide the SSD minimum 120 gig, and install your own operating system.
Okay.
For the practice purpose, because you must need to perform the practical by self.
Yes.
Done?
Yes, I will do that right away after the session.
Great. So you just need to discuss with the local IT and ask. You can just download one Big Sur operating system. The capacity of Big Sur is 9 point something gig or 8 point something gig of space that required. So you just need to download the ISO image and install it directly.
Sure.
Fine. Any other question? Any doubt?
No, so far it's good.
Okay, so I'm just going to try to set up a lab for our Mac machine, because we need to install a machine on VMware Workstation to perform the same practical using our virtual machine. So let's connect tomorrow on same time, discuss more about the Mac machine. Is that okay?
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. We'll connect tomorrow on same time. Take care. Bye.
Sure.